Welcome to Singular Sensation. I am Tallulah Fink.
And I'm Jesse Ray.
And we are going to be your hosts for this sensational podcast.
You know it. We love musical theater.
Yes, we do.
Hence the name. A Chorus Line's my favorite musical.
It's very dear to me as well.
It changed my life. So that's why we named our podcast Singular Sensation, if you guys are wondering. But yeah, we love musical theater, and we go to the Los Angeles County High School for the Arts.
We are both double majors in dance and opera, and we also studied musical theater for a very long time here.
Yes. And we are in the class of 2025, which means we are graduating this year.
Going off to college, hoping to pursue a career in the arts. And that is what this podcast will be about. Arts, artists, us, and our artistic pursuit. All things fun, musical,
and
sensational.
Yeah. And we hope to shed light on some of our friends that are artists and talk about the current events that are happening in the artistic world.
Yes.
Okay, so I think a good way to start off our podcast is kind of talk about our time at LACHSA. How did we get started at our school, the Los Angeles County High School for the Arts, and how has
number
that
one art school in the nation,
in the country, and how has that benefited us? How has that kind of prepared us for college? And that
Life.
We don't know where we're going yet, but
yeah, none of us do.
Yeah.
The podcast will reflect our journey as we continue, and we'll.
So, what about you, Tallulah? How did you start your time off in the Los Angeles County High School for the Arts?
So, I'm a transfer. I transferred here sophomore year. I originally was accepted into the dance department, but now I'm fortunate enough to be double majoring in opera and dance because I've realized my love for both is equal. And I would love to be able to spend my career not only just dancing, but also singing and acting, so I'm getting the best of both possible worlds.
The best of both worlds.
Okay. Anyway, so my story is a little different than most transfers. I actually transferred not only from one high school to another, but from one side of the state to another. So I'm originally from Northern California, the quaint town of Napa Valley.
Wine country, right?
Wine country, yes. So basically, there it's very small. There's not many high school options, and the one that I ended up going to for high school did not prioritize the arts. And as a freshman, I realized college was coming up. I was like becoming an adult, so I needed to make my education what I wanted to be. So I realized I need to be in an environment where the arts are prioritized so that I can be best prepared and just do what I love to do.
Yeah.
So that is when I did research, looked for art schools around Napa, but to go to them, you had to be residents of those specific cities. Now, here's the interesting thing. My entire family, besides my immediate family, lives here in Los Angeles. So my mother came up with the brilliant idea, why don't you just stay with my lovely aunt who has an extra room, and that way I can be with family, and possibly, we didn't find LACHSA yet, possibly there will be a good art school in Los Angeles. And that really excited me. I didn't know LACHSA yet, but I knew that Los Angeles was where I always wanted to eventually live because of the artistic opportunities here in the film industry and theater. So I literally Googled art schools in LA. LACHSA was the first one that came up. It was probably sponsored, on the Google searches. I click on it, and the rest is history. I prepared for my audition. I got in. I missed my friends and family in Napa dearly, but this is the education that I wanted, and I'm happy I've been able to forge my own path. And now I'm here, and I'm able to do amazing things like create a podcast during the school day.
By the way, we are doing a podcasting class.
Yes.
That's kind of what has generated this little podcast.
This little gem.
Yes. And we love it.
We do. Now, talk about your experience choosing LACHSA.
Okay, so I don't know if I've told you this.
You
but,
haven't actually, no.
I knew about LACHSA like since like the 5th grade.
Wow.
Like I knew about it for a long time. So I went to an arts magnet for elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
It was called Rockdale, and it was in Eagle Rock. And my experience there was interesting. Like I would say that like it definitely did not feel like an arts magnet, but that's where I found out about LACHSA. So they did have some arts like infused in their curriculum, but I found out about LACHSA because my principal told me about it, and she was like, hey, like I know you like really love the arts, keep this on your radar. I also went to the LA Opera summer camp, and I found out about that through Rockdale. And the LA Opera summer camp was actually really amazing for me. That's where I learned a lot about just like intensive working. And from there I actually ended up getting a job.
Wow.
I got a job with the LA Opera for their like 2017 season, and I was a supernumerary, which is a non-speaking role. And I just like
with the LA Opera, that's a very prestigious company.
Yeah, I just walked around the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion like for like a little bit.
That's
and
the dream.
I had, if you go in the back of the Dorothy Chandler, they have this entire like huge wall of props and of like props from like some of their biggest shows, and they made a custom prop for me. So I had a hobby horse, and then but like the head was like a disco ball. Like they glued on like pieces of glass to it.
I love that.
And actually,
does it still stay there?
One performance I cut my finger on it, and then they rushed to me, and I was like, you guys, like it literally was just like a paper cut. Like it's not.
But
even
you're
that
like
bad.
necessary for
but
the
because
show.
because it was like professional, I think it was equity, but I was not
so
I was not ec, so they were like making sure that everything was okay. And so then the next day that I go to work, the entire hobby horse, like because it was like taped like a disco ball, so the cracks between
they were filled.
They were super glued, like every
Yeah.
single one. But anyways, back to what I was saying. On this big wall of all these like fantastic props, there lies my little hobby horse up there.
Wow.
I don't know if it's still there,
I'm
but
sure
like
it is.
it was there.
Who
for
would
like,
want to dispose of a disco ball hobby
I know
horse?
it was really cool, but it was there for like a little bit of time, and I was like, that was mine.
That's me.
So yeah, that was my little prop there. But basically, I did that, and then I ended up doing 2 more years of the LA Opera summer camp. I did it for a very long time, and they honestly like I definitely would recommend doing it if you are like in middle school or in elementary school, or if you're just really interested in opera. I would do it in high school. For me, it's not the path I'm planning to go on, but it really did give me a great preparation. But when I went there, a lot of LACHSA students that did TOC, that's the LACHSA Opera Company, back then, the people that did opera at LACHSA were more committed to the art form, I guess. Like, not saying that we aren't committed to opera, but like that's what they were planning to go to college for and everything. So they did the LA Opera summer camp.
Yeah, LACHSA does that to you. When you get here, you kind of realize, well, do I really wanna...
So a lot of the kids from opera did the LA Opera summer camp. There was like a pipeline. So that's how I really found out about LACHSA, and I started to get to know people there.
Yeah.
And then I do this theater called Escape. It's a children's theater. It's in Santa Clarita, and I did that ever since I was 8 years old. And the first ever show that I did there was Peter Pan. I got to fly. It was amazing. I had a great experience. The person that
wanted to fly.
It's really fun. The person that played John, because I was Michael Darling, and then there was John. So he ended up going to LACHSA. And he was a senior when I was a freshman, but I ended up becoming like really close friends with his sister and stuff, and so then I ended up finding out about LACHSA through mainly him, I would say. And so then I applied in 8th grade. I actually did not want to go to LACHSA. I didn't want to go.
Where did you want to go?
Because the reason why I didn't want to go is because they don't have an actual musical theater department
of course,
here.
Yeah.
And so I like was committed to CS Arts,
Okay,
because-
so if I didn't get into LOXA, similarly, I was on my way to Canada to
Yeah.
boarding school.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so I really wanted to go to CSR. It's like I was like so set on it, but then my friend from LA Opera summer camp called me and was like, "Are you applying?" I was like, "No, I don't think it's in my cards anymore." And then she convinced me to apply, and now I'm here. And I got into LOXA for vocals, and I specialized in opera my freshman year up until now.
Well, you still play a very big part in the opera company. You are the choreographer.
Yeah, and that started my sophomore year at the second semester. And that started out, I just wanted to be the dance captain for the show because I had dance captained 2 of their shows already.
Okay.
I dance captain Into the Woods and Anonymous Lover. Both weren't very dancey, but like whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went up to our new, because okay, little backstory about the opera program.
Yes.
We went through multiple directors. So
I've heard.
So we got a new director for the second semester of my sophomore year, and we were doing Carousel. And so I go to him, and his name was Jack Sager.
Love you, Jack.
We want to try and have him on the pod.
Yeah.
But I went up to him and I was like, "Hey, I know that we're doing Carousel. I know that there's a 10-minute ballet. I have been doing ballet for a long time." So I asked him, "Hey, like, would you need help with this?" Like,
that's what I admire about you.
Yeah.
You see something you want to do, something that's quite challenging. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
like,
it was a little-
choreographing that, like, but then you just go for it, and you come with amazing results.
thank
like,
you.
It's very impressive.
But I asked him to be the dance captain, and I said I would love to assist you with the ballet, just because I have a lot of experience with that. And then a week later, I was the choreographer.
Look at
And
that.
then it was kind of history, and I've been the choreographer for all the rest of their shows my time here, and we're coming up to a close on that, which is bittersweet. But
bittersweet.
yeah, I'm really thankful for choreographing, and then I not to toot my own horn, but
please.
because I was like the first student on the creative team,
Yes, you
and then that kind of started now an amazing opportunity in the program that I think really is now kind of the backbone of opera.
Yeah, that's why
it's
I'm
very student
able
run
to do it. I feel.
And now you are associate directing
I
our
am.
next opera, Candide.
Candide, indeed.
Can you talk a little about that, about how like you applied to be associate director and how that came to be?
So, I was asked.
Diva.
I was asked. No, so, okay, junior year, second semester, I saw a poster on the wall. It said, opera, open call, auditions, Fiddler on the Roof. I was like, yes, sign me up, because Fiddler is one of the most special So, obviously, yes, I'm Jewish. Yes, that is literally the story of my ancestors in the little shtetls. So, it's very...
Sorry, I needed to drink water.
It's very close to my heart. I've always wanted to be in Fiddler, but I never got the chance. So that was my chance, and I auditioned. And that's when I was like, whoa, this department's so cool. The students get to run, like, practically everything. And, of course, I love the people in it. And so I made arrangements and advocated. Very not easy. Not very not easy.
Not easy.
Not easy. Especially at LOXA when you're really, really... it's tunnel vision. You're in this department and you stay in this department.
Which I think is interesting, because as artists, I think we should discover as much as we can.
I could not agree more. I believe the best artists are the most well-rounded.
Yes, are multifaceted.
Multifaceted,
And you
exactly.
know, the best artists are very educated.
Exactly.
And that's the thing. Like, or comedians. Like, the funniest people are the smartest people.
Of course.
And that's-
Exactly.
Yeah. Sorry,
And-
continue.
No, you're speaking the truth here. So, originally I maybe had high expectations. I wasn't really sure what being in a conservatory style school meant, and that really meant you stick with what you were accepted in. So it took a lot of advocating to be able to say, hey, look, I really believe I belong in the opera department. And Jack Zager also advocated for me, and I'm the happiest I've been at LOXA this year because I have been able to do these two departments, though it's a lot of work. Yeah, it lends itself to many challenges and many judgments from other LOXA peers due to the fact that I am doing something different, but I have absolutely no regrets, and I know this is the education that I traveled so far to receive.
And that's what also builds your skin as an artist, is like the judgment and all that stuff. Like, it just makes you tougher, and it really, like, and you handle it very well. And I think that's like what
yesterday was rough.
Yeah, but we all have our rough days, and you know what, when it's rough, you pick yourself up. Exactly. And that's one thing that you do very well, I think.
Thank you. And I couldn't do it without my sportive friends that keep me going. So.
Yeah.
Yay.
So you advocated to be in opera, and then you got asked by Jack to be
last semester, Paz Dependence, Jesse and I. Well, Jesse was choreographer. I was dance captain.
I also did associate direct that one.
Right. Of course, because you just wear many hats.
And that was a different process, I feel like, for me to become an associate. Sorry.
Anyways,
continue.
so I like clicked on the thing, like all of the creative team positions, because I just knew I wanted to be on the creative team. So I'm like, whatever, like all even lighting design, like I don't know, that's cool. But so me and my dear friend Hudson, love you Hudson, we are associate directing Candide, and yesterday was our first blocking rehearsal, and I have to say it went very well.
It went very well.
I had to leave early again because I am also committed to the dance department, so I had rehearsal there, but I hope the rest of rehearsal went well.
Yeah, it went well. We got through a lot.
I'm so happy.
Your blocking is great.
I'm so happy.
Yeah. And I think that's what's also really, really cool about doing opera at LOXA is that we're able to, because like obviously students have so much opportunities, it's really cool as a peer to see your other fellow student thrive and really like find their artistry in those senses. And I think that's what's so cool is like just even seeing like your style of like teaching and like your style of blocking is like very cool, and I think it's different from like what we've had in the past. And I think it's like it's very like cool to see like our fellow peers starting to really step into different new creative things, because as artists, as I said, we need to challenge ourselves and we need to start doing more things.
I believe that. And it's, get out of your comfort zone.
I know.
Please, if you are strictly taking screen acting classes,
go write a song.
Go take a musical theater class. Go audition for a musical and see what happens.
Maybe like take dance or like or draw. Do like I think
it can't hurt. And I know it's so scary as artists because our world is just filled with judgment because that's
we're
how
also
we find
perfectionists.
Work. Exactly.
We're perfectionists. Everything we need to do needs to be perfect.
The OCD goes wild.
And I think that's something that I learned at the Muni because
Jesse spent the summer at the Muni.
I did.
So prestigious.
I spent the summer at the Muni intensive, and what I really learned there, because it's such a fast process. I was in the Little Mermaid in their like teen ensemble. It was an amazing experience. But what I learned there is that because it's such a fast process, you really have to like learn to pick yourself up. And what I learned was the importance of failure there, because I am such a perfectionist, and then I realized I'm not going to get better if I don't let myself just fall on the ground and fail. And
easier said than done.
It's really hard, but because the rehearsal process was 2 weeks. 2 weeks of rehearsal process,
and that's how it is in the professional world.
That's how it is in the professional world. It really was so short that I was just like, okay, if I just failed, why did I fail? What happened? And then I just pick myself up. And I think that's what, like, I gained from that. And I think that's what's important as artists, is that we need to know to fail, because that's the only way that we're going to get better.
It's so impressive that you recognize this at such a young age, because
Yeah.
I feel like I hear when I go to master classes or workshops, the professionals say exactly what you just said, but they're like, yeah, and I like just learned this. But like the fact that you're learning it right now, and I am too,
Yeah.
I'm proud to say, I think we're gonna be okay.
Yeah. And I think that's like, it's just so important to fail. Like, let yourself make a mistake, because that's how you learn. And yeah, like, I would not know a lot of my lessons that I've learned if I did not mess up.
My biggest struggle right now is just tuning out all of the exterior judgments that are totally
That's
being
hard.
shot in my face every day. When,
That's hard.
for example, I walk in from dance, having just come from opera, and it's like, well, what are you doing here? Do you know what you're doing in dance? You haven't been at rehearsals, and I have to do double the work to make sure that
Yeah.
I know my choreography, and also like having processing disorder.
Yeah.
It just makes it double the challenge. And so I feel like a lot of the times it's like, Tallulah, like, are you sure you know what you're doing? Are you sure this is like the best thing for you to be doing? But I truly believe it is, and I've learned so much. And through my processing disorder, which is quite a recent diagnosis, but
Yeah.
it explains a lot. A lot of, I love choreography and I love dance, but it's always been one of my challenges. I'm just
It's
being
hard to pick
super
up.
honest. It's hard to pick it up for me. So having to juggle all of these things has only helped.
Yeah.
And especially my confidence. But again, there are days where I'm like, do people want me to be doing this? Like, or should I just, stick to what I was supposed to be doing? But this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Exactly.
And I have to remind myself that, and everyone has to trust that whatever you're doing, that's exactly what you should be doing right now.
1,000%.
Unless you're super uncomfortable.
Unless you don't feel happy and you don't feel fulfilled.
But
And then maybe
everything's
try
for a
something else,
purpose.
but-
Everything's
Yeah.
meant to be.
And if it's not what like you're satisfied with, it will lead to something else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just love yourself. Speaking of that, 'tis Valentine's Day today.
Happy Valentine's Day,
Happy
everyone.
Valentine's
I know when
Day.
you guys are listening to this, it won't be, but
No.
just
It is
know
right
that
now.
y'all are loved.
Everyone's loved. Love yourself. Love your friends. Love Mother Nature,
And
for goodness sakes.
Be kind.
Be kind. My Valentine's Day gift to Jessie was a sign to be kind with.
Because you have Be Kind, which
I
is an
do.
organization that you guys have.
I
And
do.
Yeah, and that's amazing.
We're going to cut to my blurb talking about
Let's
it.
cut to that little blurb.
Yeah,
of
I'm
you
going to
talking about
explain
that.
what Be Kind is. Most people actually at Loxa don't know that about me. Back in 2017, my sister and I and our parents went to New York to visit my mom. Should I hold on?
Yeah.
Okay. To visit my mom's best friend, Lori Phillips, Rabbi Lori Phillips. And this woman, man, unfortunately, she passed away last year from cancer in her 50s. The most devastating loss I've experienced in a while. But so back in 2017, this lively lady frolicking around New York City, just being a genuinely incredible person. My sister and I, we were brought up like, be friendly to people, just like common human decency. So when we went to New York, and this was one of the first times we had been to New York and were old enough to kind of see how people, to like observe people and their actions. So
Yeah,
on
the way people behave
Right,
and
right.
treat others.
Exactly. So we were on the subway with Lori, and like my sister and I would be like, hi, good morning to all these New Yorkers who didn't give a bleep.
Yeah.
Clean podcast, by the way. So, like, my mom would say, like, good morning, and then people wouldn't respond. And my sister and I, being young, I was in 3rd, 4th grade. My sister and I were like, what is wrong with people? Why aren't they kind?
Yeah.
Lori had made these pins, bright red pins that kind of look like a stop sign, that say be kind. And so she showed them to us, and we're like, oh my goodness, this is perfect. So Lori and Ruby and I would wear them on the subway during this trip, and people would notice them because they were big and bright, and they'd be like, oh, I like your pin. And that would give people a reason to talk to us and to talk to them. So it was like an icebreaker with a kind message and a concrete example of what kindness is, because then we'd say, like, okay, you can have the pin, and then they would wear it, and then someone else would ask them. So, like, the pin, kindness, affects strangers that you don't even know. So that's the power of kindness. Super cool, amazing. So my sister and I, I'll wrap it up, brought it back to Napa, brought the pins back and started wearing them wherever we went, just like Lori, and soon we started seeing people we didn't even know wearing them. It got to a point where we'd go abroad on vacation and we'd see people, and like, it makes my heart so happy because we're like, we did that. And we've now spread over 50,000 pins globally. And through our platform, because in Napa we were like known as the Kindness Sisters, we decided, and because tragedy struck, I know that's dramatic, but the Northern Cal wildfires and all of these tragic events hit NorCal, and so we were like, we can do more with this Be Kind message. So that's when we started our service group, the Kindness Kids, but it's for all ages. We do service drives, projects. My favorite projects that we do annually, we do them multiple times a year, birthday parties for homeless children.
That's so beautiful.
People don't think about that. Like, homeless children don't get to, like, have that childhood experience we do with, like, having a birthday party. As simple as it sounds, that's really what makes a childhood a childhood. Anyways, long story short, yes, Be Kind is a nonprofit started by me and my sister, and we continue to expand it. Thank you for asking.
Of course. I love to hear about Be Kind.
Yes.
And you know, that's one thing that's very unique about like Tallulah Finkelstein, is that she like is one of the very few people, you're kind of like my mom in that way, where like you'll say hi to like anyone on the street, and like, I don't know, I feel like our generation, like, and like talking about me as like a person, like I like am so scared of like human interaction and like saying hi to people like on the street.
It's the generation.
Yeah, it's I think it's because of the phones.
That's what
but,
I'm saying.
But like,
Literally.
but it's like, it's very like admirable seeing you do that. And like, I don't know, like when I'm with my mom in public, like all love to my mom, I'm like, Mom, like why are you saying hi to random
I know people are embarrassed by me all the time. I act like a 50-year-old woman.
Yeah, I'm like, Mom, what are you doing? Like, we are literally in public. Like, you do not know these people.
We should be able to just say hi. We're all human, you know? Of course, if it's a sus-looking person, you don't have to say hi. But, I mean, come on. Like, if someone says hi, say hi back. Give a smile.
Yeah. And that's, like, what's so, like, unique about you. And I think, like,
thank you.
And I think what you're doing with Be Kind is so important and so beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, it's simple, but probably the most important thing you can do. Be kind to yourself, too. We forget about that. Yeah, honestly, with all that's going on at school, people don't know that about me. Sometimes I forget it when I'm at school, but actually, just little shout out, as you probably know, tragic wildfires have just struck Southern California. And through the Loxa Foundation, where we go to school, Be Kind was able to raise over $5,000.
So follow them where?
Be Kind World. underscore
So you
kind
still
underscore
don't
world.
know
I
it.
still don't know.
So
But
you
we'll put it
still
on the
don't know
screen.
it.
Don't
We'll
worry.
put it on the
Right
screen.
here, right there.
Okay. By the way, everyone, since we're talking about following, you can follow us at Singular Sensation Podcast on TikTok and on Instagram.
And our episodes are streaming on Spotify and
Apple.
Podcasts and our video
On YouTube,
version
if you're watching
on
us,
YouTube.
hi to all. If you're watching
Hello,
us,
if you are watching us. Yes.
yeah, and you guys should go check us out because we will be having more things there. And
We already have recorded our first interview for
I
our
know.
next
For
episode.
our
We'll
next
keep it a
episode,
surprise.
we're gonna keep it a surprise.
But it is so
Yes.
exciting.
But that interview is very exciting, and I'm in anticipation for you guys to hear what we talked about because I think that was a great conversation.
Yeah. So, moving on to continue the get to know us portion of this podcast, I'm going to ask you a question. And it's actually 3 questions.
Okay.
And it's kind of fun. It has to do with dance in a way
dance?
that the number 8 is involved.
Okay.
5, 6, 7, 8. You
Okay.
get my drift? Okay. Jesse,
Yes.
where would you like to be in 8 weeks, 8 months, and then 8 years?
8 weeks, 8 months, 8 years.
Yes.
8 weeks. That's 2 months. What month is it? February.
2
March,
months.
April. In 2 months, I hope to, in 8 weeks, I would say. 8 weeks, I hope to know what college I'm going to. But I might not know, and that's okay. Hopefully I know by May, but hopefully I'll have some sort of idea of where I'm going to go to college. And by the way,
Wait, what month is it? February.
yeah, by the way, I want to go to college for to get a BFA in musical theater.
Right.
We'll see how that turns out.
It will, because
Yeah, that's what we're hoping.
Well.
I applied to a bunch of places. It's just, yeah, we're just seeing like where I get accepted and stuff like that.
Awesome.
And then 8
months.
months. 8 months, I will for sure be in school. That sounds correct, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I will for sure be in school. Oh, tracking back to 8 weeks,
Oh.
I hope to have my license by then. I hope to have
Hooray.
my license by then.
Let's pray that happens.
But that might not happen.
Will I drive with Jesse? That is the question.
Probably not. Probably not. But that is the goal. That was a goal that I've had for 2 years now, and I still haven't gotten it. Okay, and then 8 months. I hope to be in school. And I hope to be getting into the vibe of my program, and I really hope to be working very hard artistically. And yeah, I hope that we're still podcasting.
We will be.
And yeah, that's kind of my 8-month goal. And then 8 years, I hope to be living in New York, and I hope to be working in the arts, doing musical theater full time.
Yeah.
I hope to, but
If you had to pick up a little side gig, what would be your ideal?
I would love to like teach dance or something, or I would love to teach at some like musical theater institution or some sort of thing like that. Some like actor studio or something like that. I would love to do that. And yeah, I hope to be this was something that I was told once, that like Broadway's the dream, but what after? What after that? And for me, I think that what I will find, because I want to be successful in 8 years, what I guess I'm determining in 8 years as success is to be working with people that I like. And to,
That really matters.
yeah, and to,
Even if you're on Broadway, you're not going to be fulfilled if you're around.
yeah, because then what after
Breaks.
that? What after that?
Yeah.
So I hope to be working with people that I like and
Hooray.
to be enjoying my time.
God bless.
How about you? What is your...
Cut, because I have to pee so bad.
Okay, we're gonna pause. We're back from our little break.
Apologies.
What about you, Tallulah? What is your goal in 8 weeks, 8 months, and 8 years?
February, so March, April, like end of April.
Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully I likewise will know what school I'm going to. That would take a lot of stress and pressure off. I would like to double major in theater / musical theater and be able to double major, like minor in world arts and culture.
That's amazing.
Because I really want to travel, which leads me to 8 months. Wow. Yes, 8 months. I hope to be in school and loving it and have so many friends and continue podcasting and possibly studying abroad. And sorry if you hear the school announcements going on.
Yeah, that's okay. Just speak into the mic a little more.
Okay. Is this good?
Yeah.
Yes. All right. 8 years. I would love to own a farm somewhere.
A farm?
I really
what type of
wanna-
farm?
A farm that,
Like with animals?
yeah, like I go. So it's like a secret farm.
Like a secret
It's
farm?
like a secret farm.
Like on the DL?
On a hill in like New
It's
Zealand.
Like, it's a secret EIEIO.
No, get this. I sneak into slaughter farms and I steal all the animals because vegetarian core. And I take them to my secret farm where they live a life of serenity, peace, and happiness, and we all dance together.
EIEIO. Do you not get the joke?
I do.
Okay, maybe it's not that
bought me
funny.
a cat. Okay. Sorry. Anyway, so yes.
Wait, would you ever do those like, have you seen those things where it's calling like my husband like competitions, and it's like these old women and they're like, Daryl, come back into the they're like, Daryl, you better come back into the house right now, Daryl. Have you never seen that?
I've seen that, but that impression was crazy.
Wasn't that great?
That was great. So yes, I would love to be like in nature, but like also teaching as well, teaching art,
Nice.
teaching theater, as well as writing. I would love to be writing and
What would you like to be
continuously
writing?
directing pieces, musical or just straight theatrical pieces
I love
that are positive messages to to improve our societal improvements.
Mm-hmm.
So art for social change.
Okay.
And I would love to have, wait, is this 8 years?
8 years. Yeah, you're on 8 years, I think.
So wait, how old would I be? So I'm 17, 18.
No,
19,
not
20,
old.
21,
I mean
22, 23, 24. I'll be like 24.
Quite young.
Yeah, maybe I'll be like married by then. I don't know.
Wow, that's crazy.
I know. But like married to like someone who's like loves to travel as well, and then
Where do you want to travel?
possibly an artist, like an actor, so then
Where's,
I can
like-
like direct on them.
Where's like the first place that you would travel in 8 years?
Turkmenistan.
Why?
I'm so kidding. Do you know
Oh,
what Turkmenistan
no.
is? If you know what Turkmenistan is, I'm your friend. Like, I have a fascination with that country. It's where the gates of hell are.
What?
It's like this fiery, like natural, like fire pit
Oh my
that's just
gosh.
like been there and been burning.
Is it like a volcano?
Yeah, and it's like no one can like enter the country unless you have like a very special visa and a tour
Oh
guide.
my gosh.
It's like,
That's crazy.
it's like the portal to the back rooms.
Wow.
Like freaky stuff. Anyways, sorry. You're getting to know my like weird obsession with global travel. No, I would really love to go to Japan.
Hirotakimasu.
Yeah. Do you want
I love that. Actually, I would love-
take me on a tour.
I've never been to Japan, but I would love to go. For a
I
while.
want to go to Kyoto.
Oh. My phone fell.
Computer fell.
Hey, I'm in Kyoto. Do you know that song?
Is that Harry Styles?
No.
Uh-oh.
Phoebe Bridgers, an alumni of our school.
Okay, Phoebe Bridgers and Harry Styles. I get confused all the time. You know her mom's on the board of this school?
Yeah.
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 Maybe Phoebe
she
should
wrote
be on
it-
our podcast.
Phoebe Bridgers,
We would love to have
come on our podcast.
Yes. Yes. Dr.
Please.
Pullman remembers you. He still
Yeah.
mentions you in class.
Yeah, Dr. Pullman talked about you last year.
Yeah.
Please come on the
Because
pod.
Jesse and I were in the same class, right, Jesse?
Yeah, we were, but I didn't know till we were then, so I didn't know that she was in my class.
Get this. At Fiddler Callbacks, I go, oh, Jesse, who, by the way, made eye contact with me in class so many times because of whatever reason. And then I'm like, oh, Jesse, that SAQ was so, essay was so hard. And you were like, oh, yeah.
What period are you in?
Are you junior? I was like, oh, yeah. He was like, oh, what period? And I'm like, yours. And he was like, what? I was like, what?
It's so embarrassing.
Yeah, that is really embarrassing.
Yeah, but
I sat
I don't have an
two
excuse.
tables.
I don't have an excuse.
But look
yeah.
at us now.
But look at us now. Now we have a
So
podcast.
it doesn't matter.
So it doesn't matter. But like that was kind of crazy that I did not know who you were.
Heartbroken.
But you didn't talk to me much. Did you?
I don't remember. Probably.
I don't think
I'm
so.
friendly.
Yeah, you are. But like, I was talking to just my table partner in that class.
Whatever.
Yeah, I was in my own little world.
My
Anyways.
table partner never showed up. You know who you are.
Wait, whoa. That's
It's okay.
kinda
I
low.
love this person, but that was crazy. And they ended up with a better grade than I did. And I was never
Oh my
absent,
gosh, that's
so.
crazy. Anyways, we're going to our next section of the podcast that we like to call Song of the Day. Okay, so my song of the day is Add Up My Love by Clairo. It's from her album Charm.
Love.
Have you listened to that?
No, my sister likes Clairo, but
It's
I never
so
got
good.
into. Is it a her?
Yeah.
Okay, I never got
Her
into
music
that.
is so good. I got into it over the summer. Some of my friends from St. Louis put me on. Shout out. And yeah, it's really great. Add up my love. Add up my love. It's really
I
good.
actually don't know if I've
It's
ever. heard
honestly,
that.
I feel like
Is that
song.
uncultured?
No, I feel like that song is like, honestly, like a little Carole King vibe. And I know that
You know I love Carole King.
I love Carole King too, but I would listen to Charm.
Okay.
It's a great album.
Okay.
Anyways, what's your song of the day?
Oh my gosh. So why am I like, well, why do I not know what to do? I'm going to go with Head Over Heels by the Go-Go's. And
Head Over
you know
Heels.
why. I just sang it for an audition. Can't
Yeah.
disclose. But it's been stuck in my head ever since. And I recorded that 2 nights ago. And I can't stop singing it. But I think it's a really good song. And I think the Go-Go's are really cool.
Yeah, that
Like-
song has a special place in my heart.
Yeah,
You know why?
I do.
Some of the sensations will know why as well.
Yeah.
Why
Why don't you just tell them at this point?
Oh well, I
You did a dance to it.
Yeah,
You
I
a
did. I
dance to
did a little like thing at the museum with it. But like it was part of like their teen show that they do, and like we were the intensive teens were fortunate enough to do one of their shows.
So cool. Alrighty, so we're moving on to sensational questions, and these are questions from you guys, the sensationals.
Okay. Our first sensational question is, when did you discover your love for your art?
Oh, gosh. Well, see, I have to say, since being conceived in the womb.
Really?
Is that dramatic or what? Well, okay, so my grandfather, whose name was Art, believe it or
Really?
don't, but
That's
it's true.
so cool.
So I know I was meant to be an artist. So ever since I was born, I've been, drawing. My parents, still in our house, we have in Napa a craft room.
Really? Wait.
It's
I
off
love
the
that.
kitchen, and it has this craft table that my grandfather, who's since passed away, actually built.
That's so
It's
cool.
so special, I know. So crafting and visual art, I was always doing glitter glue,
Glitter and
clay.
Candide.
Okay. Anyways, and then, Mom puts me in ballet class. I just keep doing it. I still take ballet twice a
In
week.
that tutu at 2.
What?
In the tutu at 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know it.
Yeah. I have a video of like my first recital. I'll show you. It's so cute.
Okay.
And then theater comes into my life, which completely changes it. I was also in Peter Pan.
Wow.
I was originally, my first musical, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. That was a youth show. I believe it took place during the summer. I was Violet, Blueberry Girl.
Yes.
But Peter Pan was my first like main stage production, and things were real, and people were flying, and there were mics and
Love.
tickets and like
Audience.
It was wonderful. I was
Lights.
Toodles the Lost Boy, and it's so special. And
I
ever
love that.
since, shout out to CKT, Cafeteria Kids Theater, Napa Valley, my home, my family, what has brought me to where I am today,
I
continuing
love it.
to do theater. So yeah,
Youth theater is so beautiful.
ugh,
Like,
it's genuinely the best form of education. I
It-
think it's the
it
best
really-
activity for
it really
for
just
young
like,
people to be exposed to.
yeah, it lets people like get out of their little shell, and
Mm-hmm.
it really gets people to like find themselves.
Exactly.
I think. Youth theater is so important.
Exactly.
How did I discover my love for the
Yes.
arts? We're gonna pause one
We're
second.
gonna pause 1 second.
Okay.
Okay,
When
wait.
when did I discover my love for my art? I discovered it. I always wanted to do something in the art.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I never wanted to do sports. I was never that kind of kid, and yeah, I always wanted to do art. My first ever dream that I had was to be a drummer. I really wanted to be a drummer so
Really?
bad, and it's because of the Fresh Beat Band. Did you ever watch the Fresh
Oh.
Beat Band? There was this.
Yes.
I don't know. There was like I loved the color blue, and the blue person, this girl, was a drummer, and I was like, I want to do that. I want to be a drummer.
I took drum lessons for
Really?
like 3 years. I know how to play the drum.
Oh my gosh!
I have drum
I
set
love
in
that.
Napa.
Fresh Beat Band was the first band, the first concert I ever went to. And honestly, because they sang and acted and everything, they honestly kind of inspired me to do musical theater. But I saw
Wow.
Wizard of Oz at Escape, and I was like, wait,
Yes.
I can do everything that I want to do together. And that's I kind of have been doing musical theater since.
Love.
And yeah, I always wanted to dance. I have told this story and like so many times, and my mom and I kind of have a little joke that I always
Okay.
talk about it. But when I was little, I really wanted to tap dance, and
You
my
know
parents didn't let me.
I know this.
My parents didn't let me, and so I was like, you know what, I'm
cutest thing.
going to figure it out myself. And so I got my little Skechers. They weren't like the light up ones, they were just like
Oh,
regular
why
ones.
not?
Because I never had the
Lame.
light up ones, but honestly that would have been so cool, especially for tap shoes. But I got little Skechers, and I taped quarters to the bottoms of my Skechers, and
That
I
is
tapped with little quarters taped onto my shoes.
You're gonna like say
And-
that during your Tony Award speech.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
And but it wasn't that practical because I used Scotch tape, so they kept on like ripping off. So then I added duct tape to it, and then I learned how to do my first shuffle and my first flap.
You
and
were
then
just meant to
it
be-
was history.
That's so cute.
Yeah, but that's kind of how I discovered my love for the art. Okay, so this will be our last question for today.
Yes.
Whose guidance throughout your experience at LOXA will you take with you after graduation? Any lessons that you learned?
Are we talking teachers?
It can.
Peers?
I think it can be anything.
Well, LOXA is where I learned to be an independent, functional human being.
Yeah.
I would say, because I am so independent being here practically by myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess just it's so hard. LOXA in general has been, and all of the challenges and obstacles that have come with it and have come with me learning how to advocate for myself despite some unreasonable barriers, which unfortunately that's just the real world. So
Yeah.
one specific person I wouldn't be able to say, but my friends.
Yeah.
You?
I would say a lesson. I don't know. I wish I had more time to think about guidance, but I would say the most biggest lesson that I learned from LOXA was to continue to be curious. I think that was the
Curiosity.
biggest
Wow.
lesson. Our little metaphor or saying at LOXA is that we were born to create. So I think that continuing to create and finding new things to create and being curious, that's really the most important thing that I learned from LOXA. And yeah, I've had some great guidance. Jack has been a huge
yes.
influence on me. He's given me so many great opportunities. So I
agree. I would
really
have to
take
say
a lot
Jack as well.
from him. But yeah, that was kind of
And I love
it.
Dr. VR Principal.
Yes.
She's a queen.
Anyways, thank you all for listening to Singular Sensation.
Singular Sensation, our very first episode. Please follow us on all of our platforms.
Yes, and if you're watching us right now, we're going to put all our tags up on the screen.
Yes.
But if not, follow us at Singular Sensation Podcast.
Episodes dropping weekly.
Yes.
Stay tuned for next week's episode. Very special guest. You will not want to miss it.
It's a great interview. You guys are going to love it. Okay, thank you for watching
and listening.
and listening. Goodbye to everyone.
Goodbye.